Morning and welcome to the morning break. I am Rob Patz. That music is awful as we continue through our bad music leading up to 1 year on the air. That is definitely not going to be the music. We've already picked the music, which I think is kind of sad because we should have actually waited. Should have waited on that. That was part that I goofed on. But it is good to be here, be with you on this fine Monday. Hope you had a good week. It's a good weekend. It's been one of those crazy mornings. If I act distracted, it is because I am. Now, here's the thing about life in general. For me, if it's electronic based, it's probably going to have a problem at some point. Today, we had a problem with our complete setup. You notice it's not the real mic that I use. This is a good mic. Don't get me wrong. It's a good backup mic. It's always good to have a backup mic in place. It's always good to have a backup. It could be actually kind of a metaphor to life in general. You should always be prepared. Be a Boy Scout if you want to. If you don't, then don't. I didn't do any of that. In fact, actually, my wife and I were talking about this through the Assemblies of God. We had a thing called Royal Rangers. If you're not familiar with it, you can Google it. It was kind of a Boy Scouts thing for Christians, and it was for the people that either went to church or wanted to invite people. They used it as an outreach too. And my dad was an AG pastor. So you know, and I wouldn't go. No, I just wouldn't do it. I just was not. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to be in scouts either. Didn't have any desire to do that. I played sports, and I told my dad that. I said, "Listen, the meetings for the Royal Rangers were at the same time I was practicing." And so I didn't have to go, and I was thankful. And no shade, if you were a Boy Scout, a Girl Scout, or a Royal Ranger, or what did they call what did they call the girls? I think they were called missionettes. I can't remember what it was called. Doggone it, I wasn't a girl, so it didn't matter to me. I believe it was missionettes. Anyway, if you were one of those, no shade, no problem. I mean, if that's like your thing, your jam, then cool. It was not my jam. It was not part of what I wanted to do in life. I had no desire to camp outside. That was not in my thing. My DNA was like, I think I grew up. Everyone says I was Shirley's son. My mom's joke used to be, if there's not a doorman, I'm not staying there. That was her life. That was her. She lived by that motto. And maybe that's what. And look at this. What's going on here? I took a shower this morning and it was like weird. It was weird right away, and it's humid here in the great state of Ohio. Good night. But anyway, that was her thing. So I guess being prepared is where we got on this. So I always have backup stuff. It has been a wild morning. For those of you that don't know, but prior to this, I usually do work. Well, that wasn't the case this morning when I tried to turn on all my equipment and nothing worked. So here we are. We're having a good morning. Stephanie Esposito is going to be with us. We're going to talk about Salted coming up in a little bit. By the way, today is National Thrift Store Day. So if you do that, which I know a lot of people that do, I haven't been in a long time. I used to go in there. It's got to be 10 years, I think, since the last time I was in a thrift store. And I used to go in and look for like cool old ties. That was my thing. I have strange addictions in life. Watches is one of them. The other's ties. I love good ties, good quality ties. I love good stuff. The classics. And sometimes you can get, if you go to the right thrift store, you can get some cool old classic ties. In fact, I did one time. Now it was not an Hermé. Hermé is the thing my mom got me into. So if you see me in a very classic looking tie, more than likely it's an Hermé. And if you Google it, you can then blame my mother for that addiction because they're not cheap. I think they start now at like $385, $400 for a tie. And my mom used to buy them for me. So I did not pay out of pocket myself for those, but there's other brands, and for the life of me this morning, I was thinking about this when I read that it was National Thrift Store Day, uh, and I can't remember the brand name, and it was a high end designer tie, and I got it for like $5 at this thrift store. It's about 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago now, and I got it and I wore it a few times, and it was a cool tie. I mean, I got to be honest with you, it was a cool tie. It was very traditional, classic. It was blue, and I can't remember. It had something that was red. It was either like chevroned or something like that. Anyway, it was red, and I liked it. And I wore it. It was a cool tie. It had a cool feel to it. It wasn't so wide that you could tell it was from the '60s, though. My guess it was from the '60s or the '70s. But there's a whole argument for if you do buy stuff, you should buy from classic brands because it never goes out of style. Anyway, that's another side story. But anyway, I'm doing an event. I'm speaking for men at a men's event, and it was a formal, like a business formal type event. I was for a pastor in Georgia that does entrepreneurial. He's no longer at that church, but he does entrepreneurial clubs at his churches wherever he's at. And so he and I were talking, and I walk in, and he goes, "I love that tie." He said, "I've been looking for a tie like that for a suit that I have." And I was, I am not. I'm an only child. Like, what's mine is mine. What's yours is mine. I don't give stuff away. It has to be God before I do. And so I'm in the midst of speaking to these entrepreneurs, and God is like nudging, and you can tell like I'm distracted. God is nudging me, like, give him your tie. And I'm like, God, I got this tie for $5. You see them on eBay for like 1,000, and I got it for 5. No. And so I'm still speaking, and God and I are having this conversation, because if you don't have those kind of conversations with God, I feel really sad for you, because I do. We have like talks. I mean, he is my father. And so he understands me. And I'm like, God, I found this. That was so cool. It was a score. I said, high end tie that I could sell on eBay for like $1,000 right now. And this is 10 years ago or 12 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And so we get about halfway, 3/4 of the way done with my speech. And I look over, and he's grinning, and I don't know what he knows. And finally I just stop in the middle of it, and I say, you know what? And I was talking to these guys and ladies that were there for this entrepreneur thing. And I said, sometimes you just have to follow what God has. I untied the tie. And I actually didn't fully untie it, because if you're ever in TV or no TV people, we never fully untie our ties so we can change in a hurry. So I pull it down, and I pull it up over my head, and I'm sitting around button, the top neck button, because I don't want to look like a nerd. And I walk over, and I said, God told me to give this to you. And it turned the whole story, and it turned everything. Anyway, that's what happened. I heard from him a couple of years ago. It was super funny. He took a picture of still wearing the tie. So God had a cool plan. But anyway, so it is National Thrift Store Day. And you can check that out. By the way, the great folks, 7 Weeks Coffee, that's 7weekscoffee.com. Check out the promo code ATV10 when you order. They've got some great stuff. In fact, today I'm drinking it that out of cold brew that I made. My wife got it for me. It got me a cold brew maker. I don't know if it's a brewer or whatever they're called, but anyway, I got one of those, and I love it. And I've got my coffee that way this morning. Remember to check out the great folks at 7weekscoffee.com. That's 7weekscoffee.com. Stephanie Esposito is with us right around the corner.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Thanks to great folks, 7weekscoffee.com. That's 7weekscoffee.com. Check out the promo code ATV10 for savings throughout. Stephanie Esposito is with us. Stephanie, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I am awesome. How do I sound? Because I didn't even get to check. So if you didn't log in early enough, you probably did not hear. Had a real electronic issue, and like nothing's working. Like everything's dead. Like my whole system is dead. So I don't know. How do I sound? I didn't get to do a sound check. Literally was.
No, you sound fine. You sound just fine.
Good,
It's been one of those mornings, Rob. I mean, over here it has too. My coffee maker stopped working this morning. Yeah, we've got all kinds of stuff.
See, that's equipment can be changed, but no coffee maker. That's like level 1. That's DEFCON 1. That right there, I would be in big trouble. But as you may have heard, Kristen got me a cold brew maker.
Yeah, how do you like it?
We used it once, and the coffee's awesome that way.
Okay.
But the part that was the hardest for me was the anticipation, because it has to steep. It's like so you put the coffee in, and I'm a mixologist, so like I mix like my coffees. So I had some 7 weeks espresso, and then a local brand that I get, and yes, I do mix on occasion. I don't just drink 7 weeks all the time. And it was a local brand, and they're out of Michigan, and they make coffee with a flavor of maple, and it only comes out in mid-August, and it's usually only here until Christmas. So like I hoard bags of it. Like that's one of my things. Because I love it. And so I get like as many bags as and I freeze it, just for those of you that wonder if it goes bad or not. It doesn't if you put it in the freezer. But so I had that, and the anticipation was the worst part. Yeah. So I got it Thursday and had to wait till Friday night to do anything, because I didn't get home, didn't get it set up until Thursday night, like 6 o'clock, and it has to be basically 24 hours. So I got to take the first drink out of it. It was amazing. It's been amazing. It's big enough so that I can get like 4 or 5 cups out of it. Well, I drink big cups, so a normal person could. The instructions say that will last a week, and I looked at the thing and I went, "Will last a day." It's like this is not enough coffee. It was like I said, like 4 cups. But anyway, that's it. So honestly, when was the last time you were at a thrift store?
I don't know. But my daughter, so all the kids are into that these days. My daughter went just the other day with a girlfriend, and she bought a designer little like workout dress. Those like athletic leisure wear, right. And it would probably be over $100, and she got it for like $20. So you have to know where to go. Apparently, I'm learning from the young girls, but they like to go in certain areas. If you go where people have nice things, then they give their nice things to the thrift stores. You have to go to like the right neighborhood, I guess, apparently is what they're saying, and be there on the right day. But yes. I haven't been in, my goodness, years.
So the thrift store that I go to, that I got the tie at, well, I don't go there anymore because I don't live in Seattle. But I would go on occasion, and especially you used to go on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
And you could get like the designer stuff, and it was a very nice, it's it's near the neighborhood where like Bill Gates's family lived, and
so kind of shabby.
It was a rough neighborhood. I was scared to be there. Yeah, it was actually in an old. And you have to be a West Coast person to know what I'm about to say, know what kind of store. It was an old Lucky store. Lucky was little higher end grocery stores in Washington, Oregon, and California. Okay. And so if you know Lucky, they went out of business. They were bought by Albertsons, and that changed everything. But it was in one of the Lucky stores that had tile floors, and it was definitely a high end thrift shop. And that's, of course, so now I'm gonna get all kinds of heat because Macklemore, who is a rapper, if you don't know who he is, don't look him up. He is from there, and he had a song out that was called Poppin' Tags. It was actually because he used to go to that thrift shop, and I'm getting deep into this, Stephanie.
Let's talk about you're hanging out with Macklemore now.
I actually did get to meet him. Super cool story, but that's all for another time. I was at a game, and he was there. Macklemore is a huge sports guy. actually owns part of the Seattle Sounders, which is our major league soccer team.
Oh,
Like a 1% owner of the Seahawks. I think it's 1% or a 0.5% or something like that. Huge Seattle fan. And anyway, super cool dude, actually. Really legitimately a nice guy. Like, did not, you know how it is, because you and I both have interviewed people that are celebrities, and some of them can be just doorknobs. And he was like super, and I wasn't interviewing him. I was just hanging out. I was in a skybox, and he was in the box too. And I, honestly, and this is how terrible it is, like with celebrity type stuff, is sometimes you recognize them, and sometimes you realize how good their makeup is. And that was kind of the case. Macklemore looked like he had, like, he looked, he was not his image. He was wearing like really expensive khakis and a very expensive button down shirt. He did not look like the Macklemore you see in videos and stuff. And of course, he was there doing business. So I mean,
of course. It's an image. They have to sell an image, and they're smart. Celebrities mostly are pretty smart. That's how they got there.
Yes.
And so they know how to put on whatever persona is going to get them paid, I guess.
Yes. So tell everybody, because I want to talk about this. The show that you did last Thursday was a special show. Yeah. Tell everybody about the movie and about that interview. That was super cool. And see, tie-in celebrities. See, I do this every time, and you should be in awe of how good
I am.
With no script. I mean, Post-it note, and that's actually the Post-it note about the National Thrifts. The other one's over here, and it didn't have anything to do with that.
You didn't even have to look at it. Just naturally, you've just built that bridge. Perfect.
That's skill. That is skill right there, ladies and gentlemen. But
well, I had the opportunity to interview the director of a movie called Elijah Peel. It's actually the Robertson family of Duck Dynasty started a production house, and they bought the movie and worked on that movie with this director named Kevin Seppi. And this movie is all about a celebrity, actually a rock star who has a real come to Jesus. He struggles with addiction. He struggles with being in the limelight. He struggles with women. And they did such a beautiful job like painting this picture authentically, because, you were talking about Royal Rangers, and it was Dorcasettes, not Missionettes, at least at my church. But
okay, I know it was something. I couldn't remember.
But back in that day, we had movies, Christian movies were very different. And this movie, I would say, has almost like reset the standard for what a Christian film can be, because it was authentic. It was not corny. It was not cheesy. They showed the struggle, which I'm so grateful for, because there are so many families that struggle with or love someone who struggles with addiction. So Christians need to have like good, wholesome movies that still represent reality. And they did that so well. But more importantly, the direction of the film, just the arc of the story, brings this rock star into a hospital where he meets a young lady who is fighting for her life. And in turn, they strike up this friendship, and she tells him about Jesus, and he has his ups and downs, but you have to watch the movie and you have to see how it turns out. But it was an excellent film. The director is quite a character. He wrote and directed the film based on his own life experience. He is Elijah Peel, and it was really cool to talk to him about his own moments of finding God and his own moments of hitting rock bottom. And I think the film's going to do phenomenal. It hit theaters on Friday, so that's why we did the emergency kind of episode, so that our viewers would be able to know ahead of time. It's super, super important that films have a great first weekend, especially independent films. And so this indie film started on Friday, and we're going to run the interview with Kevin again tomorrow evening. So if you missed it, don't worry. You can still watch the interview, and you can still hopefully go and check your theater listings and see if it's still available near you. Highly, highly recommend. Anyone over, I would say, the age of like 10.
Yeah, and that's it. And the only thing I noticed, because I was watching some of the clips that you sent me, he was a Miami Dolphin fan, and that I felt sorry for him right there. I knew that his life must really be tough.
I mean, It is tough to be a Miami Dolphins fan, yes,
I
but it's
can't.
not so tough to live in Miami, I guess.
No, I wouldn't think. I think only thing tougher would be a New York Jets fan right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So, but
definitely.
and we're excited. And I wanted to talk about this because the neat things that are happening with the show. And tell everybody you're now doing it weekly. You got some great guests. We've had some great guests in the past so far, and I was trying to think because I love the show, and I was trying to think who my favorite interview has been so far, and I
Cool.
can't come up with one that's my favorite. Do you have a favorite yet?
Oh my gosh. I I've had a couple that have been epic, but I don't know that I can choose a favorite. I mean, it depends. Like because the beauty of this show is that we're talking about issues that matter specifically for women. Now men you can watch too because these interviews are awesome. They're really good. But I'm thinking about my girls. I'm thinking about what things I want to talk about, at the little neighborhood get-togethers and with my friends and so those are like the main topics that we're tackling. But I mean, we've gone over everything from health and, GLP-1s and to like, honestly, like this salvation story of a Muslim woman who was beaten and abused and came within an inch of her life and then had a radical like Damascus Road experience with Jesus. So we've got all of these different things that would appeal to really anybody. But I think geez, I don't know, movies and directors. And, I did an interview with the one of the directors of Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and it really had very little to do with, it was the underlying, like performance-based identity issue that most athletes have. And so many women carry that with us into life, whether or not we were athletes. So there's just been so many really cool interviews and opportunities to talk to people from different walks of life, but who really represent issues that matter to all of us. And so it's really hard. It's like trying to ask me to pick a favorite child. It depends on which one's listening better that day. I don't know.
Well, I totally get that. I by the way, I've got my paperwork over here, all filled out, and I am excited to announce that I'll be headed to the NBA WNBA draft this coming year because they can't.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, there you
I
go.
figure it's been a few years. My knees are pretty bad,
Oh my
but I
gosh.
figure at my height, I should be pretty good to like get rebounds and stuff.
You know
And
what? Don't get me started, Rob, because I mean, I would love to hear from you. If you are a viewer of Salted, we've been covering a whole gamut of different topics, but would you like to hear more current event type news? Because as everyone is probably aware, unless you truly don't watch news at all, the WNBA opened up the draft for anyone who identifies as a woman. And it happened a couple days after I interviewed Dina Barricado from Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And so I had, I was in that stream of thought to begin with. And I thought, well, not everybody cares about basketball. Not every woman cares about sports. But when I put it out on my socials and asked, do you care about this? I was overwhelmed by how many people responded and said, absolutely, we care. Like, this is wrong. This is, this is sexist and it discriminates against actual women. So it was definitely something that I think we would maybe like to bring more of. But what do you want to hear? Where do you want to draw the line? I mean, I would love to hear from our viewers. So reach out to me on Instagram if you have a preference or if there are
that's
topics that we're not covering that you want to hear about.
well, and then you had the Save the Storks folks on.
Yes.
And then right after that, the Massachusetts governor signs a right up to birth
Yep.
abortion law. So you've hit a couple of really hot button things lately.
And not even on purpose, but you know what? That's God. God
That's God.
lines stuff up. And it's important for the body of Christ to be informed. We don't need to be buried in it. We don't need to immerse ourselves in a 24-hour news cycle. But we do need to be aware because our voices matter and our perspectives when we serve them with grace. And literally, that's why the show is called Salted, because we are called to be the salt and light of the earth. If salt doesn't have saltiness, then the Bible says that literally it should be thrown away. It's good for nothing. And so your voice is good for something, but your voice needs to be educated. And so I'm grateful that the Lord allowed the timing of these shows to be what they've been.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll continue to walk down that path and have the right timing and bring information to people that they need to hear so that they can make a difference.
God has really blessed us with some neat stuff when it comes to that, and his
Yeah.
timing has been amazing. By the way, you can watch all of the Salted episodes. They are in the app under originals, and of course, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and then again at midnight Eastern or 9 p.m. out on the West Coast. You can watch Salted again as we re-air it. And I'm super, super excited about the show. It has been a blessing to me. I love the clips. I've gotten some great feedback from people. And I want to, before we leave, I want to ask you this question because it's very important to me.
Okay.
And it is, by the way, also, and oh shoot, right? I no, I goofed around and now I lost. It's National Nonprofit Day. There we go. I couldn't find my notes. There it is. There's my notes. They're going away. National Nonprofit Day. Your favorite nonprofit. There we go.
Oh my
That was the closed question. In I blew the lead. Blew the lead up completely. I can't.
Okay. This is also a tough question because there's so many important missions out there. But I think one that's really near and dear to my heart right now is the Mighty Oaks Foundation. They are one of the only that I'm aware of Christian organizations that directly caters to military and first responders who are struggling with PTSD. That to me is an issue near and dear to my heart, being a military wife for 21 years. Well, I was married 20 years, but he's been in for 21. It's important to me because a lot of times doctors will tell these men and women who have given literally their everything to our nation that PTSD is a life sentence and that they'll never be the same and that they need to be medicated for life. Mighty Oaks Foundation believes what the Bible says about neuroplasticity and has centers across the country where they offer free retreats for weekends and support for these men and women. They don't believe it's a life sentence. They believe that God can renew our mind like he promises in his word. And so right now that's one of the organizations that really is near and dear to my heart.
Give the name again one more time for people.
Yes, it's called the Mighty Oaks Foundation.
I love that. That is so cool. We need to have them on.
I'll work on it. I would love that.
Okay. See, that's it. Stephanie Esposito. Show's called Salted, and she is here for the chaos as we had a chaos morning here. This has been a big day. She lost her coffee maker. I lost like a whole studio setup. I have no idea why there's no power. But it's been that kind of morning. Stephanie Esposito, thanks for being with us again.
Thank you.
It has been a great day. Hey, listen, I enjoy getting to hear from each and every one of you. Like Stephanie said, hit us up on social media. It's crazy to think that we're coming up on 1 year of this show. Where has the time gone? It's crazy to think about that. But listen, you can hit me up on the app. You can find me there. You can also media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or the gram, as some people call it. Not me. I'm not that cool. But I appreciate the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. That's 7weekscoffee.com. 7weekscoffee.com. We didn't get to talk about them today, but my-snackies.com, the official snack of the morning break. Go to my-snackies.com and use the promo code ATV to get a discount from Donnie Young and the great folks there. Hey, listen, appreciate you very much. Thanks for taking time. This has been your morning break.